"You uploading late as hell again." And yeah, that's pretty much true, and that's why this video is not really gonna get much editing, so don't be surprised to not see basically anything in this video outside of gameplay in the background. But when it comes down to it though, one, it was because I was trying to figure out what to actually really kind of make a topic for, kind of talk about. I didn't know what to actually do. But then I was thinking about how I did say at 5K I wanted to do another wrestling video and kind of just like do something with that. But I didn't necessarily know when the perfect time is to do it because it's so vastly different from any other piece of content that we really talk about here. But it did make me think of one idea, and that's wrestling fans. And obviously this whole video, as you can kind of tell from the thumbnail, if it's 3 different things that is split up between anime, games, and wrestling, then you know obviously it's gonna be hidden all over the place. But when it comes down to it though, one of the biggest things that obviously I see during the time of being a wrestling fan is very much the way people kind of perceive wrestling. Like, I'll be absolutely real. I have seen wrestling since I was a child. It's been with me since anime has always been with me, since I was a baby. And when it comes down to it, I was fully aware of characters like Kane, Mankind, The Rock, Steve Austin, you know, people like that from the ye olden times of the WWF when they used to be called such a thing. And when it comes down to it, I've seen all of its craziness from its ups and downs, even when I didn't understand wrestling on a deeper level, and when I was just basically watching genuinely as a person that didn't know too much about the whole thing and was just loving every minute of it. I was there and seeing the nonsense when it comes down to, you know, the Hardy Boys and how they were just whooping people's ass left, right, and center. How Randy Orton was about to get stomped out by The Undertaker in that one-time event where he basically used the car, I want to say, of Eddie Guerrero and kind of just beat his ass with it and crash into the whole screening in the back. I've seen, you know, Eddie Guerrero wrestle in the ring. I've seen the whole thing with Chris Benoit. I've seen all of that. I've been here for a long time when it comes to wrestling. The only problem with my wrestling knowledge is that because my family's whole life has been just strenuous when it comes down to money as a whole, we couldn't just necessarily afford, you know, cable all the time. So that way, you know, sometimes I'd go to my dad's house and go watch it over there. And then sometimes I had to just not see anything because I didn't have any internet either. It was only at one certain point in time where we did get cable again and I was able to keep up with it when I saw a lot of old faces didn't appear on there and a lot of new people. I was like, who the hell is a Roman Reigns? Who the hell is, I know who Kofi Kingston is. Who the hell is all these other random ass weirdos? Who, Becky Lynch, who the hell is that? I didn't know anything about anything. I missed the entire era of just a ton of weird shit going on and shit that people were just excited about. I didn't know anything of that era, but I did keep up with it enough. And by far, one of the people that is, to me personally, I would say one of the biggest wrestlers in my personal viewing of the content is John Cena. By far, John Cena is the GOAT. He is by far the one person I would say slaps way harder than a lot of other wrestlers. I know that there's that stigma of people saying, oh, new gen, but also at the same time, he kind of earned that place though, right? Yes, you got Steve Austin, and yes, you got The Rock, and yes, I found it funny when Steve Austin used to whip out the damn beer truck sometimes, or was actually like the president of the WWF and was kind of taking Vince's place and all that sort of stuff. I remember that. I remember all the wild and things that, again, wrestling has done, like when they was trying to, you know, make Stephanie McMahon look kind of sexy with the short cleavage thing that she had, which damn well was making people thinking differently. You know, it just, I was there, you know. So obviously, again, I've seen a lot of wild stuff, and there's been a lot of good matches. But John has been there when it comes down to it, and by far, I would say the person I would say I like the most. Right? So obviously, when you saw me make that video talking about how he went heel and how crazy that was, yeah, that came from a long distance of a life of just being a John Cena person. That's just how it was. Hell, even there was one time, even in elementary school, when, you know, The Rock would come out with movies, I would deadass hate The Rock because he kept screwing over John Cena with a once-in-a-lifetime match, which, once in a lifetime, haha. But when it comes down to it though, that's how I was. I was I was meat riding John Cena, high key. That's how it was. So you get the dang point. It's just the fact that, you know, he's just one of those superhero guys, those basically the Superman of wrestling, and he inspired a lot of people to just charge and, you know, take care of what they need to take care of and be the person that they need to be. And I think that's something that I got from John when it comes down to it. You know, so obviously, again, I am a deep wrestling fan. I very much understand everything of what goes on and all that sort of stuff. I've been there for many years. There is one thing though, and this is not just solely related to wrestling, but because it also can relate to anime, games, and stuff like that too. But there is one thing though that I do have to really mention that I feel like takes a lot of the fun out of wrestling, and really the fun out of anime and games and such like that too. And that is critique culture, right? And I might be saying some hot takes and stuff like that, but let's just be real here. I do feel like because everybody analyzes everything, overly analyzes everything, I do feel like people misses the fun of what certain things is, right? Like, yes, is it fun to overanalyze and think about things? Sure. Is it nice to kind of see what actually is bullshit here, what's actually good? Sure. But also, I do feel like it kind of overtakes a lot of people's, like, lives to the point where they have a disdain towards the thing that they like, right? There's plenty of times where I was like, you know, watching wrestling, especially since I got like internet access like all them years ago, I was basically just like, I like wrestling for what it is, just people being ass and using chairs and tables and whatever, and it's just a great time. Why are we overanalyzing it? It's not that hard. It's just people doing a performance essentially for our entertainment. Does it need to be that hard to really think about? And that's just kind of how it was, right? And that's how I feel about anime and things like that too, right? Because plenty of people, especially when it comes down to things like Genshin or things like, you know, a Kingdom Hearts or whatever, like tons of times people will come up with theories and then get mad when things don't happen the way they want it to, when ultimately I'm kind of just here for the ride. Like, cool, it's nice to think of theories and stuff like that, but I'm not really here just to solely be theory crafting. I don't really care for that to the highest extent, and if I do it, it's just out of fun for the game, and that's just how it is. But ultimately, there's a lot of people that take it hella seriously and will base their whole ass, you know, minds to be, that's the only reason why I care for a said product or said thing, and it just feels a bit weird. It just feels a bit, you know, I guess like strenuous to kind of be critiquing something or kind of thinking about something all the damn time, and instead of just enjoying it for being a product of what it is. And I feel like, honestly, by saying that, plenty of people will be pissed off about, like, you know, about me saying such a thing, but it is true though, right? Like the whole John Cena heel turn, when it comes down to it, plenty of people has very much voiced their displeasure about John turning heel and how it actually went down. Like, they were fine with the idea of it going down, but ultimately they didn't really like the execution of everything. And that's perfectly fine, you didn't like the execution. Ain't nobody mad about that. But when people just overly go into it and critique it and then be like, oh, it was such a waste, they should never have done it if this was going to be the thing. And ultimately, I don't feel that way. I feel like they did it because people wanted to see it for a long time. He fulfilled that wish, and that was that. I don't necessarily think there was a moment where, in my mind, where I'm like, oh, I wish he never had did it, because people been asking for that for literal years. People been wanting that for literal years. And you know what? Fair play. Even if it didn't go up to the expectations that we wanted to see, even when John said so himself that he didn't really like the heel and how it was, you know, kind of doing and stuff like that. Ultimately, yeah, again, could have been better, absolutely. But did I at least enjoy what it was because he tried it? Sure. I don't have an overly bad hatred of it, but so many people make it out to be like the worst damn thing, especially content creators or news channels like WrestleMania or like, you know, I don't know, like plenty of other people that's out there, which I do watch WrestleMania though, just for whatever. But still, it's just like they should never have done this. Do you not see the stupidity of their work and all that sort of stuff? And it's usually British people that care about wrestling like this that oftentimes just do not like the product for whatever reason or have something negative to say, which again, perfectly fine if you want to voice your displeasure, but is that literally all you care about to do? Is that literally it? why you care about wrestling that hard. I get wanting to have a good product, and I think everybody should deserve to have a good product. But ultimately, you do realize that certain things were just not gonna work out right. Let's be honest. Legitimately, was there any shot in hell that we were gonna legit boo John Cena, hate his really non-hateable ass, and really just straight up be like, yeah, F John Cena, we mean it this time? No, you're not gonna do that. That wasn't gonna be a thing, and WWE themselves was not gonna do something like that. That's just how it was. John is not meant to be in that position, and that's just how it was, right? Like, we see him acting in different movies, and if you want to hate him in those movies, sure, he plays the role well, but ultimately, in a wrestling capacity, was that ever going to be the case where we legitimately get people to boo John Cena? No, you really just don't. Mans is good in the ring, he's been good outside the ring. You know, it is what it is, and that just all there is to it, right? There is no legit way of that was going to ever really happen. You know, same thing with people getting pissed off with, you know, Cody Rhodes not getting the damn belts the first time around until like the other WrestleMania where he beat Roman that time, right? I said it myself. I was like, no, I don't feel like Cody should win here because he didn't earn that shit. He just came back and then what? You just hand him the belt? Because you know what, the damn other people, if that timeline would actually were to like happen, you know what people would have said? Oh, WWE just handed the belt to him. Oh, how could they do that? They should have made it at least a bit more challenging instead of giving this up to what this is. And all that sort of stuff. And it's just being, and so many people were just like, oh, this is an awful decision. How dare they do something like this? Because it's boring as hell. Because it's a boring ass story, which again, you just came back from another company. Yes, was the whole point of him going from a different company and just really different places to prove himself that he actually can be a main eventer? Absolutely. But also at the same time, that's a years of long bits of journey, honestly. And at the very same time, why can't it be just one more year of another journey to figure out, hey, did he really actually earn it or not? Why not see the new WWE today and see if he actually can do it? And I feel like that makes a lot more sense than just hand him the damn belt, which a lot of fans, again, was very much like, what the hell is this? This sucks. He should just have the belt immediately. Like, drop your pants and just let him have the damn belt. Like, no, that just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense really at all from a storytelling point of anything. It legitimately doesn't. It will make sense that the final challenge would be get screwed over in some shape and form and fight your way through the new company that you left, the new version of the company that you left, and essentially see how it all works out. That is how it should go, and that's why that win at WrestleMania that year was so damn cool and actually lit as hell. But will you see that from a wrestling fan's perspective of them understanding? Hell no, they do not get that whatsoever. And it's because they very much just want things to instantly kind of happen, or they don't necessarily trust the process of the story, which granted, it's WWE. Sometimes you really can't trust the process of it, especially during the Vince era. But sometimes you can. Sometimes in that situation, you absolutely can, right? Because obviously, if you want to make the most money, yeah, you should let Cody win. You should sell merchandise of a whole year's worth for Cody, just so people can see, yeah, we can make it happen, but we want to see your cash to kind of, you know, promote the character, promote the person that's actually going through all these trials and tribulations when it comes down to it, and stuff like that. And that's not me trying to glaze up WWE or anything like that, because current and recently with the whole thing with them doing the first WrestleMania outside of the country, Saudi Arabia, yeah, I don't like that either. I very much don't like that whatsoever. And a lot of different moves that, you know, the TKO era of wrestling has been doing, yeah, I don't really care for a lot of the decisions that they've been making too. But also at the same time, there is a level where it's like, all right, let's see where things needs to go. Let's see where the story could potentially go, right? And that's just ultimately how it is. You know, so my point is, when it comes down to it though, and really what more so what this whole video is about, and I know again I focus it more on wrestling, but when it comes down to it though, sometimes critiquing stuff and, you know, criticizing things all the time really can kill your enjoyment of it, right? Because ultimately, if you're just there for a negative time and you know you're going to be in there for a negative time, why stay there? Why be a part of it? if that's all it's going to do. And it's not necessarily a fun time whatsoever. It just, you know, a lot of nonsense that you didn't really want to deal with, and yet it's just, again, it's just there. It's just a bit ass, if I'm gonna be honest, right? Like, if I were to critique every single anime under the sun, or every video game I played, and constantly go about the things I didn't like about a certain project or a certain game or whatever, then obviously I would very much hate everything. There's not anything to enjoy in anime anymore. There's not anything to enjoy in games anymore. Same thing with wrestling. I would basically not really care to, you know, be a part of wrestling anymore in terms of what I've been watching, you know, and how things have been going. I kind of want to feel like that anyway, considering the weirdness of TKO and how they've been running things and how they basically only see dollar signs. Again, there is valid callouts, valid criticisms and stuff like that too, and I'm not saying that there isn't, but ultimately you shouldn't let that also ruin your fun of watching the product. Sometimes when wrestling comes on and a game comes through or an anime comes on, I like to turn off the brain and just consume the content for what it is. That's why, for people that be wondering why the hell do I like Genshin so damn much, I like Genshin because it's like fun. It's just fun for me to turn my brain off and not really think too damn hard. And sure, could there be things that be done better? Absolutely. But I'm not gonna let that sit here, you know, and all the critiques in the world basically ruin the fun for me to enjoy such a game like that. Because it's one of the games, or at least game ideas, I've been wanting to see for years, and it's actually being carried out, and I like it, and that's just how it is for me. So again, critiquing is fine, but don't let it ruin your enjoyment, essentially, because ultimately it just makes you bitter, sad, annoying, and personally one of those people on the internet that you do get mocked up by a lot of other people, and it's understandable to know why. But yeah, that's, I guess, just really what I want to say for this video. Don't expect other wrestling videos so soon. it just, out of the blue, 5K was a thing that we passed like a little while ago, and I just wanted to do one because, you know, it's been a minute since the last one. So, you know, don't expect any other wrestling videos for a good minute of time. So that's just how it is, unless I feel like talking about it. But that's literally how it is. So hopefully, again, you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow the socials. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's my boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.